If you are joining our webinar, if you'll just give us a few moments for all of the people who are viewing this to load in, we'll begin in just a moment. Good afternoon. I'm Phoebe Stein, co-founder of Ageless Living Collaborative, and we are thrilled that you're joining us to talk about a very important topic. Today, we will be discussing how to preserve dignity for seniors as they age. A little bit about the Ageless Living Collaborative. We are a collective of advocates who are so very passionate about creating optimum outcomes for seniors. And that is whether they are seniors aging in place, in their own homes, in a senior living community, be it a small house, a larger community, independent living, assisted living. All seniors, we want to make sure they're living their best, most ageless life. Today, we have a really terrific panel. We are joined by Dale Miller from Aging in Place USA and a member of the Ageless Living Collaborative, Faith Marabella from Wellesley Design and also a member of Ageless Living Collaborative. We have a guest, Ray Ferry from American Bath Group and Layla Early from Toto. I think we may have Rebecca Litwin from Down, etc., join us at some point, but there's some technical difficulties with her arrival to the webinar. So we're going to start by talking about what's all the conversation about dignity. Dignity is so very important to seniors, to all of us, but especially to seniors as they age. Well, how would we define that? And Dale Miller gave us a great definition of dignity: the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. That's pretty poignant. So think of it as respect and honor for our seniors. So we're going to kick off today's webinar by asking Faith, why is dignity so important in senior living communities? And isn't a safe, controlled environment for our seniors enough?
Absolutely enough. We are getting so much better at this. And I love this slide because it shows, I think, where we started with Nurse Cratchit, who was this very sort of prescribed, this is what you're going to do, this is how, not taking into account really the human or what their needs are. Just looking at them as patients. And as anybody in senior living communities know, we call them residents. These are our residents. This is a neighborhood. And so we want that connection between the care and the resident, as shown in the lower picture. The next slide. The other part here is when I think about a nun at school, how juvenile it is, how senior living, I think they used to be, you talk down to them as if they're, because they might have a little trouble hearing or seeing, and that frustration, and you start treating them like people don't understand, and they do understand, and we need to get to the level of that understanding and that individual's needs, so we have that shared learning of those crossroads so that we can provide better care. And then here, I think the other thing is, overall, I think in general, not only just in senior living, it has been, we're looking at not only just treating the body. I think doctors are finally getting it, that there's a whole part of us beyond the body, that intellectual, emotional, holistic, spiritual person that needs to be fed and nurtured as well. And that's where the dignity really, that's that spiritual part that can fill somebody up and really give them the life that they strive for, and the purpose in this, and as people age.
Well, it's how they start their day, right? If you feel good about yourself, you're going to start your day well, right?
Right.
How has the pandemic affected how we feel about each other? And are we now more compassionate about each other and respectful of others, or did it go the other way?
There's some interesting things to view when it comes to this question. There was, during the pandemic, a real stigma about seniors, many of them living in senior living communities, and the surge that occurred in senior living communities. And so there were negative feelings about the caregivers there, as well as the seniors themselves. I'm hoping that that has cleared up and people now have the level of respect that's necessary to appreciate all of those people who live in and out of senior living, because they are family members and they could be your grandparents or your parents, and someday we'll all be that age. So
That's true.
Yes.
it is.
Ray, are there interim solutions people can employ now to prepare to age in place?
Well, absolutely. And we really should start thinking about aging in place and begin planning for the future. So to be really more proactive than reactive in our environments that we're designing and building and manufacturing for. And until recently, many of the products, kind of as you see here, had a either very commercial look, and it almost really felt like you were living in a hospital. And
Scary.
yeah, manufacturers have come a long way. We're now trying to manufacture items that really create a more kind of spa-like environment, one that's comfortable, relaxing, really having a design that is a high-end or a luxurious feel to it, so that it really isn't this kind of healthcare or hospital-like environment. Kind of really bringing sexy into safety. There's
It's
no
like it's
reason not to.
bringing wellness in a way.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Certainly looks prettier too. Can you talk to us a little bit about, grab bars, who should use them, why we should use them, what age they're appropriate?
Well, unfortunately, grab bars have kind of a stigmatism about them that they're only for people who are handicapped or that are aging. But again, I think this is something we really need to educate the public on, and that really grab bars are for everyone. I have used them myself. I was in a bed and breakfast up in Vermont, and I tweaked my knee, and I was trying to get into the shower and really couldn't bend, and seeing that it was an old Vermont bed and breakfast, it had one of those, really nice wall mounted sinks, and I'm trying to hold on to the sink, and it came off the wall. And so now I'm one leg in, one leg out, trying to hold the sink, water spraying, and my wife walked in, looked at me, and basically turned around, walked out.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and even besides that, I have a young daughter that plays volleyball, and from time to time, injuries happen. So even someone in their teens and early 20s really needs to use grab bars. So it really should be something that we should think about as part of the shower or bathing environment itself.
And Ray, don't you find that grab bars have come a really long way? We're using, as designers, we're using matching towel bars, matching paper holders, so that you feel as if all of the jewelry in the bathroom has a beautiful match and there's no stigma attached to that grab bar.
Dale, you're completely correct. I mean, if you look at the first image on the bottom left, that's typically what everyone associates grab bars as, but the design has come a long way so that you can match what you exactly just said, all the accessories. And even though if you look at it, there's mostly chrome shown here, but there's a couple of items. The bottom one is in matte white. Matte black has been trending, for a while. So the manufacturers are doing matte black, polished nickel, satin nickel, brushed bronze, all the finishes that you would see from your major manufacturers that are making the showers and the faucets.
And I'm glad you said the brushed brass, that brushed gold, that soft gold is really hot, especially in the hospitality market. But we're using it too because we can get the faucets in that. So we like the jewelry to match, as Dale says. I like that.
I like the jewelry also. That's a great way to put it. So
I think that they should maybe be as ubiquitous as a shower head, that we should start looking at the bathroom in total as always having that grab bar, because at any age you could need it. And for safety, why wouldn't you?
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Let's touch on another element of dignity for our seniors. And Layla, this is definitely the toughest conversation to have. And we're going to look at this graph a little closer because I was just blown away by the fact that so many people are having such a difficult time talking about these two elements: care for personal hygiene and getting to the toilet on your own. How do you address that uncomfortable conversation of dignity in the living environment with either family members or with caregivers for that family member who's having a challenge?
Absolutely. So I think we can all relate to this question. It is taboo to talk about toileting. It is taboo to talk about bathing, whether you're doing it with a family member or with a caregiver. And it doesn't matter at what age, right? I think it's interesting here, as you said, that some report will really highlight that, back up this information, that it's not just accepted that people are uncomfortable talking about toilet habits or personal hygiene. But it is a very serious topic because at a certain age, you will then change your behavior, right? You will maybe drink less so that you don't have to go to the restroom, or adjust your food consumption, maybe not take your medication. And so it can have very serious health impacts. The other thing is that the first reason why people will have to lose their home, their familiar surrounding, is because they're not able to use the bathroom independently. So it is an important topic that we must address. And I think that one way we can do it is by not putting the emphasis so much on the disability or on the age, but understanding that good products with good feature, good design is good for all people at all different life stages, right? We just talk about a teenage hurting their knee and not being able to step in the bathtub the same way, or being a parent and having to bathe your young children in the shower, right? So we need to think about good design features. I think we can also elevate the conversation by talking a little bit about product design. Most manufacturers now have very elaborate product design development, right? Product design development. And so we can talk about technologies, we can put the emphasis on the benefits and have a better conversation, an easier conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dale, are there some simple home technologies that can provide independence to seniors and strengthen their socialization? And now we've got the funny slide. So Dale, you got to talk about Grace here.
Well, for those people out there who have never watched Grace and Frankie on Netflix, this is one of the most amusing episodes they ever had. And to set the scene, Jane Fonda plays the part of a woman close to 80. She has a boyfriend who has a super modern home and a very low toilet. And she finds herself stuck because she cannot get up from the toilet. She doesn't have the momentum. So she creates this whole scene where there are towels strung together and a scarf so that she can put it around the neck of a sculpture and pull herself up from the toilet. It is one of the funniest episodes I've ever seen. So Grace and Frankie for sure.
Well, and funny, but oh so accurate, because wouldn't it have been great for her to have had a little grab bar that she could have relied on?
Or the appropriate height toilet
Exactly.
for her age.
Yes, yes. Ray, until recently, many products were designed for aging in place or elder care. They had a pretty commercial feel, looked like you were maybe in a hospital. Why aren't more home care products designed with aesthetics and individual preferences in mind? And what modifications could a home owner make to gain independence and improve the quality of life, but still have that home aesthetic?
Well, I think from a manufacturing point, a lot of the manufacturings are taking this into consideration. We know that we don't want that kind of antiseptic look, or that cold kind of institutional. So we are switching to different materials, different patterns that are available in manufacturing bathing units. And some of the things that people can do in their home and should be done in their homes, and even in multifamily applications, developers, architects, and designers. Some of it is, again, pre-planning, having blocking in the walls for future installation of grab bars or grab seats. Excuse me, or folding seats. So if you do want or need to put grab bars in the future, you already have the blocking that will hold minimum 250 pounds on them. Some of the units that are pre-made or prefabricated, the manufacturers are making them with the reinforcement already into the unit itself. So there is no need to go and put blocking in the walls. It's already built into the unit itself. Besides that, things like
actually, Ray, I want to just interject. I think this is another opportunity where we've got a multi-generational solution here, because I think there's a lot of ladies who shave their legs and they've been in a shower that doesn't have a seat or a ledge or something like that. And that it's a pretty slippery condition to be in on one foot with something sharp in your hand too. So again, I think it's kind of good for everybody. It's not just for seniors, these seats.
It is. And also, again, if you have teenage daughters, the problem is you can't get them out of the shower with the seat. So there is kind of a pro and con with that. But also just looking at the image on the top left, besides the seat and the grab bar, other items to really think about too, the niches. As you can see, there's two different levels. So standing, so if someone's standing in the shower, they have access to their shampoo and conditioner. But if someone is sitting in that seat or has to use the seat, you need to have their soaps and their cleansers within reach. So you need to have a niche by that seat. The other thing that I always like and recommend is, if besides a stationary shower head, a handheld, because again, being in the seat, or if you are shaving your legs, to have that handheld. Usually non-positive shutoffs are, I would say requirement, so that again, when you are lathering or shaving your legs, the shower is not just spraying the entire time. You have access to actually turning it off at the shower head itself. So grab bars, seats, niches, the materials that are in there, zero clearance with trench drains. We're seeing that a lot. And again, being able to roll in or shuffle into the shower itself. And I mean, I can go on and on, but beyond the safety, again, kind of creating a wellness and luxurious, we really in the bathroom should start thinking about other items, technology, Bluetooth, smart technology. One of the things that we're seeing, again, antimicrobial materials, mold resistant, easy to clean, because again, having a clean environment that you're bathing in helps your whole outlook and feeling better about yourself. And really the last part is we're seeing a huge trend in steam units being made for residential, the whole wellness and benefits of steam, and along with that, chromotherapy and aromatherapy. So again, adding to that quality of life and that wellness and healthness to it. So these are a lot of things that can be done in the bathrooms, and should be thought during the design, construction, or renovation.
We have a question from Kevin. Are there shampoo dispensers that can hang or be attached to the wall for the home like you would see in hotels? I think I've seen those. Ray, that would probably be a good addition to this, in addition to the niches, right?
Absolutely. I mean, again, depending upon how they're fastened or attached, I know there's several different ones. Some are permanently attached to the wall. There are some that are suction cup application, or ones that hang, perhaps hanging off of the grab bar. But yeah, there are definitely different options available out there. But again, just being able to have it within reach.
Right. Well, so I think that anybody who is watching and listening today, if you're deciding to move your primary suite downstairs because you want to age in place, you really need to take into account all of these tips from our experts, because the bathroom should not be a second thought or an afterthought. That should be just as well thought out. Faith, how about in our personal lives? What tools are available to us and our loved ones that promote dignity?
Oh, there you go. Thank you. There's a myriad of categories that I think that we can use in the home, and it lies under gadgets, technology, and services. And so we've collected some here, and just to promote the recording that we did on gadgets last fall was hilarious. So I recommend everybody go back and see that recording. But here I just—
Faith is what if people have not seen that? It is actually at the Ageless Living Collaborative website, agelesslivingcollaborative.org. And if you look under past webinars, we did one on gadgets, and it was quite amusing.
It was a lot of fun. And I found this one since then, this Pan Buddy, which I really liked, because I think about even when myself, I have to pull a heavy pan or a cast iron pan out of the oven, and my wrist just wants to, just turns into spaghetti and noodle. So this is actually using your wrist to be able to brace some of that weight. And that you've got alignment between your wrist and your arm, which is really important. If you ask any massage therapist and their self-care about that, keeping that alignment. So that would give you some longevity in your wrist joint by using that before you need it as well. Services, we've got living the Live Indie. This is one of those, you can have a monitor on you that you can push if you fall and be in contact with emergency services. It provides portals for their family, and it enables them to share pictures, and also has a security feature in it as well. So it's a really nice, well thought out system, an entire system for seniors. Because I know that we're always trying to grab a piece of this technology, that, and get it all to work together. So I think they are on the right track by packaging this together. It's wise. And then services like this is heart to home meals. There's a lot of different places you can go to get, meals that are delivered. They can be frozen, they can be fresh. We have Nutray out here in in New England. That's a real health sort of, and don't forget about like Blue Apron and some of those where at least the ingredients are delivered to you so that you can still cook and you don't have to worry about getting a list and having the grocery shop and all that other stuff. It simplifies meal making for home. And then this last one in the bottom right is called Evolve. And this is really cool. I spoke with the founder and inventor a little while ago, and this is really a website that curates activities for seniors. So it finds your interest and it can curate any activity and has a calendar that you can go to and go, oh, I love gardening. Let me see what's going on in the gardening, or I love yoga, or I love to talk about fishing, or I love that, whatever your interest is, and then has other ones based like for instance, April is jazz appreciation. So there's going to be music appreciation and access to those concerts as well. So that website right now is free. And so it's a really cool that, you can go to one place, and because we've spoken also on the ALC about isolation. And so this is another great way to be in contact with people and not lose touch with people. Because I think, again, you lose your confidence and you don't go out as much and you don't feel as dignified. And I think that if you stay connected with people and you're active and you have that purpose and those interests are fed, you end up having a much better life. So
Absolutely. Well, and I want to build, I know that Dale has some additional gadgets. I'd love to build on those gadgets. And there we go. Dale, can you tell us what we're looking at and why that's important?
For those of us who are vertically challenged, and you need to reach that upper portion of the cabinet, this is a really simple system that can be installed inside the cabinet. And what it does is it brings those contents down to the countertop level. So you do not need a ladder. It's quite an innovation. Also, there are other systems that will actually elevate the countertop itself to whatever level you need. And that makes it universally well designed for everyone.
it's great.
The back saver. That looks great.
Yes. Not everyone can just use a cell phone and know how to operate it. And as we age, it may become more difficult. Or you could be visually challenged, you could have hearing loss, and therefore there are some wonderful phone and gadgets that are out there, including one that's a caption phone pictured on the left. That way you can read what someone is saying to you, and it makes it so much easier. The one on the right is really amazing because if you have some difficulty hearing, it will flash and let you know that the smoke alarm is going off or the fire alarm is going off within your home. I think that's truly amazing. Very helpful.
Something everybody who is dealing with COVID and loses their sense of smell might need also.
Absolutely.
Good point.
And this other one I found to be so handy. You can have a faucet that's installed either in the wall of your kitchen or on the countertop, and you can fill a heavy pot. This one is pictured so that it's filling the pot, and then you just turn the stove on, the cooktop on. You can cook whatever it is. If you use a strainer attachment, it's wonderful because you lift up your pasta or rice or whatever it might be, and no danger of burning yourself. Really handy for people of all ages.
And so we have these and even more gadgets again in our gadgets and tools webinar. Now we're going to turn to not necessarily being awake for all these things, but trying to get some good sleep. And for that, we're going to bring our sleep expert in, Rebecca Litwin from Down, etc. She is with us now. Rebecca, sleep changes as we get older. And maybe if you're not the best sleeper when you were younger, probably you're not going to be a great sleeper when you're older. So what can we do to help our seniors improve their sleep and maybe even sleep longer?
I think that we first need to look overall at the bed, right? What the height of the bed, making sure they can get in and out of the bed comfortably, that there isn't any strains or any additional pains. And then looking overall at the makeup of the bed. So what kind of pajamas they're sleeping in. Starting at the bottom of the bed, of course, there's a bed bug encasement, which is waterproof, but that's not the purpose of it. But then putting a mattress pad on it. And we want to make sure that the mattress pad is motionless, noiseless, waterproof, and breathable. We also have overlays and underlays for incontinence. And this really applies to everybody in the family. It's just basic hygiene, very good hygiene for the makeup of a bed. And then looking at a fitted sheet, a flat sheet, a comfortable comforter or a blanket on top, to really look at what is the juxtaposition that's really going to help people sleep better, especially with the different types of beds that are movable, and really getting people to have a ritual to put themselves to sleep at night. And that might be as simple as the first slide that you showed, really looking at slippers, right? And we always want to make sure there's non-skid dots on the back of the slipper, that we have, anti-skid, coating as well on our bath mats. So that we're always taking a look for family care in both hospitality and your private home on vacation, that we're really looking at all the different aspects to provide comfort and rituals and good health and wellness to everybody in any environment that we're in. So I think that looking at it and talking about it as a whole project, I think is very helpful.
You talked about breathable mattress pads. So I'm thinking that you're not talking about something that a lot of us have seen, and I know a lot of seniors have been subjected to, which is either plasticized or rubberized mattress pad covers, which make noise. They sound like they're terribly uncomfortable. People must sweat in them. So can we actually have a breathable and comfortable and noiseless solution and not employ rubber or plastic?
Absolutely, and it's washable. So this has been tested both in residential and hospitality. It's washed over 500 times. It still is both breathable, and it's 100% cotton on the top, right? So there's zero pill factor ragging out or, wearing down that top sheet from a quality perspective. But most importantly, it is motionless and noiseless, so you actually can get a good REM sleep, even if you have any types of incontinence or any kind of problems. And it's for everybody. I mean, everybody has, we drool at night when we sleep, which is why we use pillow protectors. And that sense of hygiene from the very beginning helps with allergies. It helps with asthma, just the overall health and wellness, which, we all need education and just making sure that we understand. You learn how to cook, we're going to learn how to really make a proper bed and how to make sure that it's really comfortable to get a good night's sleep and what that takes.
You brought up a few moments ago something very interesting about the height of the bed and being able to get into the bed.
Yes.
A lot of folks who move from, say, maybe their previous home into a senior living community, bring that house furniture with them. Not ideal, as our designers will tell you, but they do that. And so what do we do with those? How do we educate people about the fact that, that ginormous bed that you had, that you're really attached to, that maybe you need to make a change? And what's the reason? And, what would be the right height for most people to be getting in and out of bed so that they don't all of a sudden, as I've seen personally, much to my horror, take a footstool and decide, oh, I'll just use the footstool to propel me into bed.
Yeah, I think it's personalization and customization. And again, it's that checklist, right? Of really making sure that we understand why we're looking at the overall safety and wellness of every couple, even a child's room, of the whole family. Each person has an individual issue. It could be a weak arm, or somebody just has, arthritis. It could, at any age, the teenager who hurt her knee playing soccer. Each one of those needs some kind of adjustments. And we need to make sure that we're able to really take a look at that, maybe move somebody to a twin bed temporarily until they have more mobility, to make sure that they can get in and out of the bed based on what ailment. The weather changes and so does time, making sure that we can help each person. And I think it's a conversation. It starts by talking with people and educating them.
And I'm so glad you brought up like the height, because I think about I can tell you half the time I get out of the bed, it's in the middle of the night. I think a lot of us, I think a lot of people get up in the middle of the night. And so having that crucial height and that comfort to be able to get in and out, I mean, it's horrifying to think of having a step stool and navigating that in the middle of the night when you are in a, emergency toilet mode, So I think that's brilliant that you get people thinking about that.
Also,
Great
also
segue
we
into
need to
family
think
dynamic.
about how the bed is configured itself. And the innovations in bedding are really tremendous. Now that we have beds where you can elevate your head and your foot
Yes.
within your bed, you can adjust how firm or how soft you want your bed. You can adjust for cool or warm depending on how you feel or like to feel when you sleep. And I had a personal experience. I had a broken ankle. Having that foot that could be elevated was tremendously helpful to me in my healing. So beds are important.
Absolutely.
How has the family dynamic changed? Well, does it affect how we think about and how we treat our seniors?
It certainly does. The dynamic has changed dramatically, and there's a lot more going on with multi-generational living. I was astounded to see a statistic that came out in 2021. 1 in 4 people in the United States live in a multi-generational household. I think that's truly amazing.
But that's our culture that it's new to, because so many cultures around the world have been multi-generational forever. So for us, for Americans, that's a new and rather impressive new statistic, I think.
It is, and the dynamic has changed. COVID brought that to us. The pandemic brought that to us because families joined together to live under one roof. And so grandparents could help with the children, and parents could do their work on their Zoom calls, on their computers, and kids could get help from family members as they were learning on their computers. And I think it's a beautiful dynamic. I think back to people's childhoods when you're living nearby and your grandparents, your cousins, your aunts and uncles might be living near you. And so if you think about that time and where we are today and how busy our lives are, I think it's a tremendous help when we look at the fact that multi-generational living, whether it's every day or occasionally, makes a tremendous impact on people's lives, and children can learn so much from seniors. There are things that seniors have already taught and would love to teach more. And I think it's important for us to recognize that and respect the knowledge of those people who are older than we are.
I think you bring a good point, Dale, and I'll just add something. It also puts a new challenge in place, or maybe it emphasizes more the challenge of respecting the privacy of the relationship, right? So everybody is in the same home, and so there's a little bit more of a burden on everyone, and so making the smart decision on the design feature that you for your home, on the products that you pick, has even more of an impact, right? Because it's for everybody. It's for the caregiver now is maybe the kid, right? Or and so everybody needs to find it comfortable, I'll say, and to make sure that you preserve the privacy of the relationship.
Which is why flexible design is so important, right, Layla?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
So, when we have to adapt to an evolving situation, how do we make that happen, and how quickly can we make that happen?
I think that it's a conversation that needs to happen very early, right? Ray had some really good example of how we can implement in the bathroom some design features that we can later on design to adjust, right? So you can have an outlet by your toilet and use it as a nightlight. As we said, most of us are getting up in the middle of the night and not turning on the light, but now you have access to light in your bathroom in an important spot just by your water closet. It can be used for a nightlight in the beginning and maybe for a bidet seat later on for a washlet if that's convenient for you. You can add in some small changes that you can make yourself. You can have little wheels under a vanity, roll that away, and then suddenly your sink is ADA compliant. You can have somebody in a wheelchair just easily access it. You can early on decide to go for a shower instead of a tub and still have a lot of comfort and a spa-like experience. So I think flexible design is definitely an answer to preserving dignity of our elderly. Absolutely.
I want to talk a little bit about our community who are really developing some of these amazing new products for our seniors. And on today's panel, we have two folks who came to really getting involved in senior living because of personal experiences. And, we rely on our innovators, our manufacturers to create products for our communities, be it hospitality or residential or seniors specifically. And I'm going to ask two of our panelists to kind of talk a little bit about what brought them into senior living, because I think it's important for everybody to hear that and to hear how a personal experience then brings a new product to life and benefits everybody within a community. Rebecca, can you talk a little bit about the lily pad and how it came to be?
Sure. So I think that first and foremost, when we take a look at our personal hygiene home, whether you're a young girl and you have your period, whether you're, every individual sweats at night when they sleep, and where is that going? And if you took a black light and you looked at your mattress, or how do you actually clean a mattress, it's virtually one, impossible to lift, and two, it has stains or it's soiling on it, and then it creates bacteria. So now as we advance, as we get older, we really start to take a look that they used to have a felt pad, and then they put a mattress pad. Then they put these pads that made all these different noises that were waterproof. And as you want to maintain your integrity and your respect as you get older, right? I really started to study the whole softness within a room, right? Your from the home all the way to the hospitality to then even healthcare. And having a mother who is a woman of a certain age, it was most important that she maintained her dignity and, her own self hygiene. And I just started studying what really took place in making the bed. And most importantly, that it was 100% cotton on the top, and then it was motionless, noiseless, and waterproof. And then all of a sudden we realized that it wasn't just an overlay that could go on top, because I could do them in squares. I could put them on the chair. I could even use them outside in the pool area. All of a sudden it became more applicable even for dogs or for cats. So all of a sudden you came with a product that came with a purpose, being purpose generated. And then now everybody can use it, and it's helpful. So for me, it really came from just studying, needing a need, and then looking at all the products on the market that weren't good enough and
Right.
needed improvement and had.
We love that. We love the fact that you innovated to help everybody because your mom needed something better. And I know, Ray, you had a personal story that brought you into senior living as well.
Yeah, this is kind of a personal thing for me. Unfortunately, I lost my mom to ALS 5 years ago, and it was very, very quick, less than a year given. And in that time, trying to renovate my parents' home to accommodate her needs with ALS, and trying to let her keep some dignity while she was going through this. So that's what really kind of led me to all of this, and trying to champion more of universal design and aging in place. And it's not just for seniors, it's for everyone. And as I said, more being proactive than reactive, because I just did not have enough time to be able to get everything done that was needed to be done for her in that capacity.
But now you know to champion universal design. Dale,
Yes.
you deal with aging in place all the time. Do you see that more people are kind of getting on the program with that and are really coming and asking for, how do we properly age in place? And we want to have a dignified life. So, what can we do differently in our current home? Are you seeing an uptick in that?
Absolutely. And I'm seeing that builders and developers are taking note of it. They are building new homes with doorways that are wide enough for a wheelchair or walker to get through easily. They're including grab bars in their new designs. They're taking note of how you can make a kitchen more convenient. They're also using non-skid flooring, and that's a great innovation. They're making homes more comfortable. And I'm taking note of people who are doing renovations on their homes, and they're absolutely positively knowing what they need to do, or they're turning to experts like us, like Faith, like so many other people in the aging in place arena, so that we can guide them through the process, whether it's the type of light bulb or it's a new bathtub or shower. There are so many innovations there, and people are taking note of it.
That's fantastic. And I'm sure manufacturers are seeing an uptick in all of these really intelligent solutions too. It's just going to make it a much better world for our seniors. We have a couple of things. I want to go to the chat and the questions, and anybody who has more questions for our experts, this is a great time to ask those. I have a comment from Dawn that she needs that shelf system. Where does one find the shelf system, Dale?
I think if you ask your contractor or a handyman, they can find it very easily. You can also go to the website at Revishelf, and I'm sure that they can direct you to some great people who can help you with it.
And somebody also commented that Simple Human has a great soap dispenser. So if you're looking for soap dispensers to put on the wall, Kevin, apparently Simple Human has some good options. I think let me see if I have any more questions here that I need to. we have somebody else who relates to your story, Ray. I think that, with these stories and with, people innovating around them, and I'm sure Layla Toto has seen an uptick in, washlets as people age in place, and they want to preserve dignity, and to say nothing of the pandemic toilet paper shortage. I'm sure that is definitely having an impact.
Absolutely. We've definitely seen a big increase in sales in washlets. And I think washlet is a very interesting product. If you hear people talking about it, they feel very shy. And then the first time they try it, then they want to have it at home because it just provides so much hygiene. And you don't need to be elderly to want to have more hygiene in your home, So
Exactly.
Once
how
you have one, you
easy is
never
it?
go back. Once you have one, you never go back. It's
absolutely
true.
So how easy is it for anybody to put a washlet in their, say, existing bathroom?
Yeah, a washlet will retrofit on top of 90% of existing toilets. So you don't need to have a toilet. You just need GFI outlets and outlets. And then take off the existing seat that you have, put the washlet, connect it to the water line that is already existing, and that's it. It's up and running.
So Cottonelle is not going to be happy with you, but for everybody who wants to know if they can get a washlet without renovating their entire bathroom, it's possible. So this is good news. Is there anything else you would all like to bring to the forefront before we close today's webinar? I think there's been so much incredible, valuable information, lots of great slides. Thank you, everybody, for contributing these great slides. Some of them were pretty amusing and others were very important. Any last words of wisdom?
I just think people need to remember about that, dignity is achieved by, preserving, your pride and providing independence to people. And it's so important. It's just, and I'm so glad to see the industry looking at that from a person-centered care now, that we're understanding that we're dealing with real humans, not just a body anymore. So, and we just need to keep thinking about it that way, from person-centered care.
I have one final question. Great ideas and so inspiring. Any ideas on how a user, family member, or caregiver navigates the high cost of many of these solutions? It's a great question. Dale.
Make a list, put your priorities at the top of the list, get an estimate for more than one person as to how to achieve your goals. Hire the right contractor or do it yourself in just the right way, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
And remember, you might be able to get a better price if you do group several little projects together. So, and you're able to keep the contractor there. A lot of people won't come out for one little itty bitty project. So sometimes you could save some time and actually save money by grouping some of those together.
Great recommendation. Thank you all so much for joining us today. If you know of somebody who might benefit from the content from this webinar, please direct them to the Ageless Living Collaborative website, agelesslivingcollaborative.org, and they'll find all of our webinars housed there, and it should be up in the next 24 hours. Or you can go to the Ageless Living Collaborative YouTube channel to check out the webinars. If you have any questions about today's webinar and wish to ask any of the panelists, you can also email us at the website and we'll get an answer back to you. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope that you'll join us again for an upcoming webinar in a month. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.